Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 7:15 p.m. Welcome to tonight's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of Monday, August 5th, 2024. Members of the Planning and Zoning Commission and public may participate in the work session and public hearings of August 5th, 2024. All participants will be able to speak when called upon. At this time, I would like to explain the procedures to be followed during the meeting. The Commission has both a consent agenda and an agenda for consideration of individual items. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-contested. Item number 1, citizen comments, provides the opportunity for members of the public to address the Commission on items that are listed on the consent agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, and the Secretary will let you know when 1 minute is left. For all plats and plans conditionally approved or disapproved by the Commission, the applicant will be provided a written statement of the conditions for the conditional approval or the reasons for disapproval at the end of the meeting. These conditions and reasons are not arbitrary. They are directly related to the requirements of Local Government Code, Chapter 212, and include citations to the law that is the basis for the conditional approval or disapproval. For individual consideration of items, I will call the applicant or his or her representative to present the case. The applicant will have up to 5 minutes to present the case, which includes all persons representing the application. Then, those wishing to speak in favor and those wishing to speak in opposition will have up to 5 minutes each to present his or her comments. Prior to speaking, please give your name and address. Remember to speak directly into the microphone, as this hearing is being recorded for public record. Any handouts you wish to provide should be given to staff. Please do not approach the Commission. The next meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission will be Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. The next item on our agenda, citizen comments on items listed on the consent agenda. April, has anyone signed up to speak on any item on the consent agenda?
No one signed up to speak. Please proceed.
Thank you. Secretary Hack, would you please read the consent agenda into the record?
Good evening. Thank you, sir. We actually have 2 items for 1 vote to approve on the consent agenda. The first item is the approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes of Monday, July 1st, 2024. And then if you'll refer to item number 5 on the consent agenda for disapproval, that item has been moved to the consent approval. And that item reads 2024-258-PL. It's the Embassy Revised Edition. It's replatting 1 lot into 2 for light industrial development. It's located at 1451 Greenway Drive. Back to you.
All right. Thank you. Do we have a motion for approval of the items on the consent agenda for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of items 2 and 5. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. Secretary Hack?
Thank you, sir. On the consent agenda for disapproval, we have 4 items which can be voted as 1 to disapprove these items. The first item is 2024-255-PL, the Las Colinas Residential Edition, the preliminary final plat, platting 22 lots for single-family residential and school uses located at 6801 Colwell Boulevard. Second item for disapproval is 2024-257-PL, Ebenezer Full Gospel Assembly Edition. It's a replatting of 3 lots into a single lot for religious institution uses, and that's located at 1920 and 1922 Edgewood Drive and 1827 Rosebud Drive. Moving to number 6, item 2024-261-PL, the Aspen Square Townhomes. It's an amendment of the first revision, a replatting 1 lot into 122 lots for townhome development, which is located at 920 South Beltline Road. And then finally, the 4th item is 2024-262-PL, the North Star Assured Edition, a first revision replatting of one lot into two lots for commercial development located at 4231 State Highway 161.
Thank you. And do we have a motion for disapproval on the bases that were set forth by the staff in the staff report?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Who is second? Commissioner Merritt?
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second for disapproval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right, on to the individual items. Item number 8, zoning case 2024-253-ZC. Is the applicant present? Would you like to speak? We spoke about this some at the work session. Would you like to say anything further?
First, thank you guys for hearing us out. I just wanted to clarify a couple
Your
things.
name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry. Jody Bates, 4040 Carver Court, here in Irving. Just want to clarify a couple things, questions that were asked during the pre-planning meeting there. I think there was a question about the fence. There was a fence prior to there. There was a fence pretty much the same that it is now. The only difference is that it got brought up a little bit closer to the front of the house and a little bit further out to the sidewalk, if you will. That's why the variance is being asked for that. And then I think there was maybe some questions about the notification. Me as the homeowner, so we have a contract officer who's building the pool and doing the fence and all of this work. I received that there was an error maybe a month ago, if that, that there was an error because when we were understanding that all the permits were done. So this was all new to us when we got the message from the city saying that there was that the variance was needed because of the fence. But my understanding that the contractor submitted all the permits at once. Obviously, this has been a long process for us. We've been working on this pool for over a year now, really. So it's been a long process and a lot of headaches along the way, but we're almost there, and hopefully we can get this settled tonight. The other thing that we'd like to say that is, we've followed all the codes. We've had the city out there multiple times. We're very cooperative at trying to get this done. This is something that's for obviously the enjoyment of the family. So whatever we need to do to get this done is what we like to get done, and hopefully you all will approve it. As you can see, the fence, I think they did a wonderful job with the fence, and there's nothing negative from that standpoint of it. And I think we're respectful neighbors, so hopefully that's not a problem for our neighbors that are in the area. And really, I don't know what else questions that you have for us, but we really want to make this work, and I hope that it's working. As they said earlier, it's not an error on our fault. We think we did what we needed to do, or at least we tried to get that done. So thank you for hearing us out.
Great, thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
I have a question. The way the fence sets in the back, you might have heard during work session, it's in an easement. It's in that 10-foot easement. So you're aware that if they ever have to come in, their utility companies or whatever, that they can take your fence down and you are financially responsible for putting it back up. You're okay with that?
Well, it's news to us, but we've spent too much money and time to get this to turn away now. So it's really not an option for us anymore, to be honest.
Okay.
Because we've committed to having this done, and at this point, there's really no turning back. We just need to figure out how we're going to get through it.
Okay. And my second question is for building inspections. When they pulled the permit, he said he hired a contractor. to pull all the permits, and they pulled them at once, I guess, the fence permit and the pool permit?
No, sir, the fence permit was applied for this year. I believe
Okay.
it was June. June 25th.
Okay. And it was denied, or was it approved also?
It's on hold until we get some more information,
Okay.
or get this approved, I'm sorry.
It was the pool permit that was approved
That's
erroneously, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Secretary Hatt?
Mr. Bates, I just want to thank you for your very measured presentation this evening. Clearly, the city has caused an issue for you, and I really appreciate how you have presented it. I think the project looks great. I think the fence looks beautiful, the house is lovely, and my vote tonight would be to support this.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Thank you very much. All right. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this item? Are you wanting to speak in favor of it or in opposition? Opposition?
Well, we have some questions. We're neighbors. We have a couple of questions. We're in favor for the pool, but we have questions on how it's going to affect our property.
Okay. I don't know whether we'll be able to answer those tonight, but feel free to come on up. It didn't look like there was anybody else who wanted to speak, so we move on to in opposition, so you kind of get both.
My name is Nancy Jackson, and I'm representing 828 Compton Avenue, which is directly behind the owner's home. And our concern was, one, the fencing, but apparently the fencing has already been put up, so it won't be moved again, correct? If this is approved, the fencing will not be going further out towards the road.
Our impression is that they don't plan on moving it any further unless they had to.
Okay, so that was one of our main concerns, because our driveway is coming right down that fence line, and we wanted to make sure that we were still able to have a safe area to back out when backing out into the road. So if the fence is going to, is there, then we're good. We don't have any questions with that. Our other concern was with the pool. Right now, we do have an issue with the drainage of water from up, that when it rains or it comes down to our property. And we're in the process of having to gut out and remodel the house because of all the water from over the years. So our other concern is with the pool, with draining of the pool, where will that water go? Is it going to just be flowing out, or is it going to go towards the street?
In terms of water draining from the pool, I think we have somebody from staff who probably is in a better position to answer that.
Wayne Snell, Director of Inspections. Any drainage from the pool has to go to an appropriate location, either right away or to the sanitary sewer. I can't speak exactly because I haven't seen the plans, but any drainage from the pool cannot go to the back of the property, adversely affecting neighboring properties.
So it would either have to go to that adjoining street or straight into the sewer line. So
Not the backyard.
Okay. Okay, and that's what's, like I said, our concern, because we are in the process of remodeling the home at 28 Carver because of all the years. And we're not blaming anything on our neighbor. We just years of water building up. So we want to make sure that with our spending the money, that everything is going to be safe for us as well.
Great.
Okay? But with these answers, do you have any questions? Then we do not object at all.
great, thank you very much. All right, was there anybody else who wanted to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? All right, then we will close the public hearing, and I will return it to the commissioners for any discussion and a motion.
I'd like to make a motion for zoning case 2024-253-ZC for approval.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second and a third. All right, for approval, please vote. And the motion passes unanimously, and that's a recommendation to the city council to approve it, so it'll still go to city council, but it comes with a recommendation to approve. Item number 9, zoning case 2024-29-ZC at Irving Mall. Is the applicant present? Great. We spoke about this in the work session, but if you'd like to say something more, you give your name and address.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rajat Basnet for the location 2448 Irving Mall, DBA Zero Latency Irving. We at Zero Latency Irving, we offer an immersive virtual reality experience, providing the customer with a unique and engaging form of entertainment. This is, as per our research, something new to the city, where technology is advancing and we're bringing fun and next level of entertainment in terms of the virtual reality that's been emerging nowadays. And we are seeking for beer and wine license for our space. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant?
I have one. Do you serve food now?
Not right now, but for us, in terms of the beer and wine license, we are bringing up the restaurant. So with the restaurant, we are trying to serve the drinks.
And question for staff, how do we ensure that there's not beer and wine before there's a restaurant?
There will have to be, it'll revise the CO to add restaurant as a use. They will need to get a building permit to add whatever kitchen facilities that they need. Then there will be health inspections to make sure that the.
So all that'll be done
continues to be a
before
restaurant.
they're.
Yes. And then with the RAB, they will do an annual reporting to make sure they're meeting their 40-60 percentage.
Okay.
So my question is, you're doing the virtual reality games. Are those the only kind of games you're doing?
Oh yeah, right now we have that as a primary, but we also have the board games and the PS5 room. That's the secondary, so that the customers who comes and has to wait or just want to have some someone who is waiting for to go to the mall, they just can chill and we have some TVs. So if they want someone else to enjoy it, they can play the board games or the PS5 rooms or yeah. But the primary is the VR games.
What kind of board games?
Just the table games, like cornholes or some of the board games. I don't know the specific name, but just that can be played on the table.
Okay.
So like a Uno games, just something like that.
Okay. This isn't going to be different kind of card games?
No.
Okay. Okay.
How long have you been located in that space?
We opened at the end of December. We opened December 22nd.
Do you have any similar locations elsewhere?
No.
Okay, this is the,
So the VR, Zero Latency is a franchise business. They have in the Addison, Dallas, they have in the Fort Worth, and there are other, just like the Zero Latency, the different company, they have others like Sandbox or Eva, where they also, they are in the different city, but they had those bars and restaurants. So we want to bring it to our space also to be more competitive with our competitors and bring more flow in our business. But we are committed to adhering to all the regulations, TAVC regulations, and ensuring responsible service to our and safety to our customers.
and about how many people do you have in there at any one time? How many people are able to do the VR at a time?
8 people.
8 people.
Yeah. For 30 minutes, we have 15 minutes game and 30 minutes game. The max we can arrange is 8 people, and minimum is 1 people.
Commissioner Merrick?
What's the age group?
age group, we have 12 years, more than 12 years. But for that, for underage, there should be a provision of parental consent.
Okay, you do know having the alcohol, you're gonna.
Yeah,
manage
yeah,
that, 'cause I
yeah.
just
We have two full-time employees always there, and we will be regulated with the TAVC regulations and rules. And for the age limit, we have presented in our website too, where they can book.
I think it's very terrific that you're doing something like this.
Thank you.
We don't have anything like this in Irving, to my knowledge. A sandbox has gotten to be so popular everywhere, so I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody who would like to speak in opposition? Then I will return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for zoning case 2024-29ZC to be forwarded to City Council for approval.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Was there any wanting to discuss? Okay. Just making sure. You had a look on your face. I thought maybe we jumped the gun on this. All right. Then we have a motion and a second for approval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right. Then we are on to, and as before, this goes to the council now. They'll have the final decision on it, but they go with the recommendation of approval. Item number 10, zoning case 2024-131-ZC, located at 2509 Brockbank Drive. And I believe the applicants are present.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
My name is Kit Boyd.
Oh, I think the microphone got turned off.
Is that better? Oh,
Yes, much better.
all right. My name is Kit Boyd. Address is 3716 Guadalajara Court. That's in Irving. Did you want to-
Yes, I'm sorry. Iramian and 3716 Guadalajara Court is where we reside. The 2509 Brockbank is the rental property.
We just want to thank the commission for their time here. I know we previously advised the commission that we were going to make changes to the building to accommodate city guidelines. But it was recommended by our P&Z rep and the permits department to continue with this case. We are asking for approval for an ADU unit we built as a home for my mom, which is located in the back of the main house, which is a rental. Also, we're asking for a variance on the setback. This property was built for my mom to stay in. She's looking for, I'll just continue. She's looking for a place to stay closer to family. She lives alone now, and so she wanted to move up here to be closer to us. We invited her to stay with us, but she is an independent lady, so this seemed like a good middle ground. My father lives at the VA facility in Temple. Just to kind of continue, we have 33 letters of support from people in the neighborhood. As a correction, it was mentioned earlier that there were 6 letters of support within that 200-yard, 200-foot radius. There are actually 8 people that submitted a letter of support. And most of those, just to save time, you don't want to read through all of them, but most of them are in support as far as, most of the comments are regarding keeping extended families together and so forth. We are aware of 2 neighbors that did send in letters of non-support, and we did want to let them come and see the unit. One of the neighbors did come out and look at it. I think she was impressed, but she still is against it. we tried to make sure that the building was as inconspicuous as possible. It really can't be seen from the street. I do remember a picture from the previous, but that's a very small, I guess, opening there. But also, the neighbors on either side can see the unit, but both of them sent in letters to support the approval. It's not typical in the neighborhood that our neighbors in the back are not right up against us. Again, it's a 30-foot drainage canal in the back. The building itself, we made sure that it was built with quality, what's the word I'm looking for? It's warranted top to bottom. It's a quality build. It's going to be housing a family member, so we didn't want to make a build that wasn't of good quality. We're also prepared to make accommodations, such as adding a driveway, solar panels to minimize its footprint, also privacy fence as well. Just want to close up in summation here. As you may or may not be aware, there is a Senate bill and an accompanying House bill that was introduced in the last legislative session. The bill didn't pass by 2 votes, but we are aware that it's going to be reintroduced into the next session. We've also been advised to share our personal journey at the state capitol by representatives of Senator Hughes' office, who are very confident about the chances of the bill's passage. So we're hopeful that the City of Irving, in the form of the City Council, and the Planning and Zoning Commission can be proactive during these exciting times rather than reactive. In summary, we are asking for approval of our ADU, as well as the 14-inch variance on the setback. We hope our unique set of circumstances will convince you to vote in favor of our 2 requests. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah. So I was under the impression that that you all lived in the front, but did you say that that's a rental property?
Yes, it's always been a rental.
It's always been a rental.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and this is for your mother?
Correct.
Okay.
The back unit,
back
yes, ma'am.
unit.
And where do you live again?
About less than 2 miles away in
Mm-hmm.
University Hills.
Okay, and you couldn't find space where you're living now?
We've offered her space, but she's very independent. She kind of wants to have her own space, pretty much. So this was a good compromise.
She has her own home in Killeen. She lives in Killeen. And my father-in-law had a pretty bad fall that landed him at the
Ms.
VA.
Mion, can you speak into the
Oh,
microphone,
I'm so
please?
sorry.
Thank
No,
you.
I can understand the distance from Killeen to here. I guess I was under the assumption that you were trying to build something that was close, like in your own yard, where you would be able to walk to see your mother. But this is a rental property up front, and then you're
Correct, and
creating
it's-
another rental in the back
No, it's not another rental. It would be for her.
for your mother.
Right. She wouldn't be renting it. It would just be, yeah, where she would go. If we had the room where we currently live in our yard, it would have definitely been built there, but we don't have the space back there. This is a rather large lot
And
where
she
it's being
stays
built.
with us when she comes into town, and
To
she's
visit.
able to stay at the VA with my father-in-law. But she's
Can
very.
you speak into the microphone? Sorry.
She's very active. She still drives. She does everything. So, anyway, so her family's in Irving and Grand Prairie, and so she wanted to move closer to us.
That's all I had.
You made the point that she's very active and still drives, that you mentioned earlier about parking. So obviously, that's one of the concerns with ADUs is there going to be adequate parking for whoever's living in the house and whoever's in the ADU. I couldn't even tell quite how she would be getting to the front without going through the house, but I assume she wouldn't be doing that since it's a rental.
So
Correct.
this-
She could walk through the.
Right here.
Yeah, and then get to the unit that
Sorry.
way.
Right here.
And then we can build additional parking as well, as far as the driveway, or extending our driveway. That's not an issue for us to make an accommodation.
You mean
It's a
like
pretty
widening
large
the
yard.
driveway?
It's a-
Correct.
Yeah, this yard, it's deceptive on the photos, but it's a pretty big front and backyard. There's a 40-foot separation between the main house and the tiny home. where the picture cuts off, it continues to be our yard. It's kind of at an angle, and so we can put in a driveway kind of here if the picture continued.
So a separate driveway.
A separate, like, partial half driveway for her. The neighbors on this side, Dora, she is in support. She actually has solar panels. So she was telling us about installing solar panels and how simple it was. So we could take those additional steps to lessen the burden as well. In the back, there's not, there's a lot of, this is Dora's unit, but
And what is that unit?
I'm not sure.
That's the neighbor.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're not sure what.
And our
it's
unit
used
is,
Oh, actually, yeah, sorry. Can you
fraction
come
of
back over to the, I can hear you, but it's not getting recorded very well.
yes, so our unit is a fraction of that, but it's pretty hidden. But we definitely don't want to upset anyone, so we would be very willing to put up a fence.
Privacy fence along the back as well.
Right. I know that it won't cover all of it, maybe the roof will still show, but we'd be willing to do that. And like my husband said, I mean, these were quality materials. Everything is warranted. The roof has a 50-year warranty. All the siding is warranted. Everything, every piece of material that it was built with is warranted. You know, with the Senate bill coming up for a reintroduction, we're just, you know, we don't want to completely disassemble and then assemble, if that makes sense.
Commissioner Lightfoot?
I have a question. Did y'all pull a permit to build this?
So, as you know, I guess the city doesn't confirm with homeowners when a permit's been pulled. We were advised that permits would be pulled by our contractor, and evidently they weren't. So we were initially made aware when the complaint first came in, and we went into immediately to planning and zoning to discuss the issue. But as we know now that the permits were not pulled initially, no.
So my second question is how is staff going to ensure that this thing is built safely if it is allowed to stay? With everything covered up?
There are some inspections that we do require them to take out some sheetrock, some drywall, so we can see the electrical and plumbing systems. Sometimes we get a master electrician or plumber.
We've already spoken to like the permits department. Actually, we were going to just go ahead and start that process, but we were advised by them that since we were already this far into it, just to go ahead and, you know, see this process through and then kind of go from there.
We were
So
also
we've-
advised they didn't know what type of permits we would need at this time, whether it was going to be a modification permit or whether it was going to be something what the lady spoke about as far as inspecting it for final approval of sort of a mother-in-law suite. We had foundation work done to the main residence, the rental property.
Sorry, can you just go back?
Sorry, we had foundation work done to the main property, and we did not know anything about a permit being pulled. We found out because when I came by the property one day, everybody was sitting outside, and I was like, what happened? And they said code enforcement had come by and stopped work because the permit wasn't pulled. And this was by A1 Foundation. And then we also had a water heater replaced at that same property. Permit was pulled. I had no idea until I was told that we would have to make a vent where the water heater is because it's gas. And that's how I found out. So we, I guess homeowners are not notified when permits are pulled. So we weren't notified in this situation.
Any other questions for the applicant?
When did you all place the main house in a short-term rental? When did you start that?
Pretty much,
We bought it for that purpose.
yeah.
And it's.
And we extensively remodeled it. I wish we could show you pictures of the before and after. It went from one of the worst-looking houses on the street to one of the better ones now. But yeah, it's always been a rental.
When? When did you buy it?
Perhaps 2.5 years ago.
And it's now in compliance with the registration program?
Yes,
Through the
ma'am.
city?
It's always been in compliance. It's been both.
I can explain.
Yeah.
Just a little background on that. It was a short-term rental, and we had a tenant in there that was renting it as short-term. They wanted to go ahead and do a lease to go long-term. So at the time that, they wanted us to register it, it was under a lease as a long-term lease. So that was the issue. Once the tenant left under that long-term lease and it went back to being short-term, we went ahead and registered it right away. But that was the issue going on there, that at the time that they approached us, we had a long-term tenant in it with a lease, yeah.
And I have the lease.
Does this unit, this ADU in the back, does it have its own electrical service, or are you tied onto the house?
It's tied to the house, the electrical and the plumbing. There's no gas.
I guess my last question is, had you thought about using the rental property for your mother?
Not at this time. To be honest with you, we have two boys. They're twins. They're starting the 10th grade this year at MacArthur High School. And once they graduate and go off to college, we'd actually had discussions about downsizing and maybe moving into that front home. But for now, we purchased it to be a rental, and so that's what it's going to be used for. Yeah.
At least until the boys graduate, so 3 more years.
Yeah, and then we'll have.
Well, that could solve the issue because there's no.
It could, but then we have the issue of that building being back there, and it was great, it was built at great expense and stress as well. So we would still have to deal with, that building, but you're right, it would. But we just had, it wasn't purchased for that use, and so that's what we would continue to use it as a rental currently.
Yes, and my mother-in-law had very strict criteria. So she has a house, it's a little house in Killeen, and she and my father-in-law, my husband grew up in that home, but it's getting too much and she gets scared a lot living in the home alone. And so her criteria was she wanted absolutely zero lawn maintenance. In fact, when this was being built, she kept telling us, you guys are taking care of the lawn, right? You guys are going to mow the grass. I'm not going to mow it. I don't want to worry about it. And so she had some criteria. She wanted something very small. She wanted something very close. And we walk to that property all the time, especially when the weather's nice. We're very invested in Nichols Park. We participate heavily. We volunteer with the trash pickup. In fact, once I received all the feedback from neighbors, I have a little library for little kids in the front of that property. I have never received so many donations of books as I did once the zoning sign was up and people knew what was going on. I received so many books that I had to take bags and bags of books to the Goodwill because I couldn't house them all. So I just thought that was a nice sign that the neighborhood and community, and like my husband said, I know rentals get a bad rap, and if you could have seen pictures of the homeowner who lived in that property before us and what it looks like now and continues to look like, it's a 180. And we have people who walk their dogs and we're outside and they'll say, this is such a pretty house. I love just stopping here. And they'll say, don't worry, I'll pick up my dog poop, but I just have to stop and just look at the house. So.
No further questions?
No, I just have a comment. I really appreciate the desire that you all have and the hard work you've put into this and certainly the financial investment. The city council's been very clear about their direction on ADUs, and I can't sit here and approve your case knowing that we had a very similar couple in front of us with a mother-in-law a month ago, and they changed their entire approach to how they dealt with the ADU, and they have connected the ADU and to the main house so that it could be in compliance with the city ordinance. So while I'm incredibly empathetic, I'm going to have to say no to your case. I also, on the other hand, know that the city council has the final rule, so
We
I
understand.
wish you good luck
Thank
for that.
you. Thank you.
We
Yeah, I
appreciate
have
your
a
time.
comment
Thank
as
you.
well. Just to echo what Commissioner Hack said, we have had other residents that have come through wanting to build an ADU or have already built an ADU. And unfortunately, the city at this time still has a lack of consistent standards for ADUs. And so at this time, I'm not able to approve this. I really hope the city will reconsider their standards for ADUs. You're not the first resident to come through with an ADU, and nor will you be the last.
Well, I would appreciate your kind words. Hopefully, if this new legislative session, this new bill passes in the State House, then we'll be able to revisit this again.
It will be reintroduced in November, so just keeping our fingers crossed for that.
Okay. No other questions for the applicants?
And I'm sorry, just one other request. We were told that we could break up the ADU and the 14 inches. So I guess that's kind of what we're requesting. We understand that there's no law on the books for the ADU, but we were hoping that you could at least grant the 14 inches on the variance for the setback. It's not conflicting with any utilities, and it backs up to a 30-foot drainage canal.
I mean, if the building was not going to be qualifying as an ADU, that it would still have the variance for the setback, so that you wouldn't have to tear the building down. You would just have to remove the elements that make it an ADU.
Yes. But we would still have an issue, I guess, with the
setback.
variance on the
It's
setback.
14 inches too close. It's, I want to say it's 7.5 feet from the fence, and it should be something like 8.5. So it's too close on one corner to the fence.
But yeah, once this is dealt with the city council, however it goes, we're going to work with the city in any way to, to get it up to standard. And then I guess we would still have to deal with that variance with the setback.
I think I would agree with Josh that you really can't give the variance, I guess, with a building that's not in compliance.
So the variance, if I understand correctly, the variance would be the location of the building itself, or the setback portion, but then the ADU would be what it is internally used for. So they could be separated. So there could be a motion to, correct me if I'm wrong on this, there could be a motion to approve the setback variance request for the accessory use, but deny the ADU request.
Yes, sir.
And that way the building could still retain, they wouldn't have to tear the building down. The building could stay exactly where it is.
But
They
my
might
que-
have to change how they're using it.
Right, we could work
We
towards.
could work towards, with permits, to
Yeah.
remove the stove and the shower. And so.
My question for staff is, though, wouldn't it create the height, the setback for the height and everything else?
The setback variance is necessitated because of the height. So it's a taller building than would be a shed or whatever. It's taller than that, and that's what makes it need to go to the 8.5 feet.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
No other
you
questions
once
for the
again.
applicants? No? Okay, thank you. Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Is there anybody who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all for your time. I'm Carolyn Carey. I live at 2505 West Newton Circle, and I live in the neighborhood of Nichols Park. I've lived there for 42 years. I've never had problems with my neighbors before. But I'm real nervous, so I'm sorry about that. But when I got the notice, I came home from work one day, one Saturday, And this building is going up in this yard behind my house. When I look out my kitchen window, it was early April. That's all you saw was this huge thing go up. My neighbor and I both walked over in my backyard to see it, you know. I didn't know what it was. So there was a code enforcement lady in my area, and I was working in my yard. I love that. I went out there and I asked her about it, and she said, well, you know, can you see it from the street? Well, yeah, you can. The pictures that I submitted to y'all were made after the trees grow up and everything, and it is hard to see, I will admit now, but there's going to be times when it's going to be, that's all you're going to see is this huge building. There was on the day that I filed for I brought my disapproval to the Planning and Zoning Committee. That was June the 24th. I was here at about 11:15. By 2 o'clock, the lady is at my door ringing my doorbell. I looked out. There's a car with two guys in it. I didn't know who they were. I did not go to the door. At 5 o'clock, she's back at my door, banging on my door now. I went to the door. She asked me if I was Carolyn Carey. I told her yes, I was. She said, well, she was Elam and had the tiny house. I said, oh, the house that I don't like. And she said yes. She offered me $50 to go over and look at her house. I told her I did not want any money, but I did go. She wanted to know if I wanted to ride over there with them. I told them no, I would walk. I walked over and looked at the tiny house. Both of my parents had cancer. I know what people go through that have that. And I'm telling you, that lady, when she gets bad, it's going to be very hard to get an ambulance with stretchers to get her to the street. I know what this is like. I've been there, I've done that, you know. But when I went inside the tiny house, and it is cute. You know, I will say they've done a good job. When I came out and I asked them about the utilities for that house, I was told that it was associated with the house. I said, so you live here? No, we don't live here. We live in an HOA. They won't allow us to do things like this. You know, but our city has regulations too. You have to get permits. She told me they did not have permits for any of this building. Their contractor did not get that. So I found out later that that is an Airbnb house. I did not know that. And at the last council meeting, they told us that her mother or his mother was not going to be living in that house anymore. So is the house safe? There were no permits. The city didn't know anything about it, apparently, until the house is established. She even told me that day that I went to see the little house that the city council, by the time that the house was built, the little tiny house, by the time that house was built, then the city council should have passed the tiny housing or whatever that is. They should have passed that, but she said they did not pass it. So, you know, she said, here we are. So I am opposed to it because, number one, I don't think that little mom should have to be stuck in a little house so far back. I don't want to look out my kitchen window. I enjoy my house. I love my neighborhood. But, you know, if we allow this in the backyard of this house, then all of the houses on Brockbank should be entitled to the same thing. We have utility problems. Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah, so yeah, your time had expired. We didn't warn you, so if you need to say a couple of things just to wrap up, but But
No, I just, you know, the fact that they came here, they have disobeyed all the rules. When I was there, they told me they'd put up a big fence. I said, but you know, the city only allows some, it can only be so high, you know, but they don't believe in getting the permits and everything like the city demands. So, thank you for your time.
thank you.
My name is Andrea Diaz. I live at 2501 West Newton Circle. I'm her neighbor. I'm her supporter, big time. So I'm here, same complaint. Before you establish a property, by the way, I work for the city, so there's things that I know in code. So before I come, I present a case. I get an okay from the council in order for me to do the dwelling. In this case, it didn't happen. So the same thing she did, she came to my house. I was serving my kids dinner, and I asked her when she knocked on my door. She wasn't aggressive, but she was on point, like she wanted answers. Why did you do that? Well, why are you opposed? I'm here because Caroline is opposed to it. How do you feel? And I was like, I'm opposed to it. Does it have any permits? Did you go the right way about doing it? And she's like, well, her contractors did not do it. Well, to me, that's a personal problem because I know for a fact, I live at 2501. If I want to build a fence, I have to ask for a permit. I have chickens. Once again, I called code and asked, what is the regulation for chickens? So as a citizen and as an employee, I know that I have to go through certain channels in order for me to make things happen. So that was the main concern. One, the dwelling, the sewage. I have uncles who are electricians, and they're like, Andrea, no, you have to go through a master plan. It has to be presented before it passes. So my main concern is in that area, when storms hits, we're the first ones to get targeted. So when we're the last ones to get electricity back. So that's my main concern. Now, I have a paraplegic person that lives with me. I have my mother that lives with me. So understanding being able to provide a type of quality of life for a person that's handicapped, I completely understand how you go about, but certain things are like, okay, if you have someone that's sick, they need to be with you. I work at a senior center, so I know very well about seniors. And my concern for them is to make sure that their safety and their health, right? So when she came and approached me, she told me, you know, her mother-in-law is sick, and then she wanted something closer. You know, I have empathy. But once again, we go back to codes and regulations. Is it property, is a dwelling up to code? And she said no. So that's where I objected, and I said no. I'm against it. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anybody else who would like to speak in opposition to this item? No? Would you like to respond briefly?
Hello again. I don't want to make this process acrimonious or anything, but I understand that some people may be against the build, and they have a right to come up here and speak and be heard. But the speaker doesn't care about my mom. So if you don't want the unit up because you can see it from your kitchen window, that's a legitimate concern. And we would be willing to address that concern. But I was just to bring my mom into it as far as having concern for that, I don't appreciate that. Also, nobody was offered any money to do anything. Nobody was banging on doors. We were given the names, and so my wife wanted to just talk to them, see if they wanted to come see the unit, just to kind of assuage any concerns they might have that we were just slapping up some type of, substandard building. And that's basically what that was. So I just kind of wanted to address that. Also, with regards to my mom, my wife mentioned that she did have cancer. She's currently cancer-free, so she's not handicapped, she's not disabled. Like my wife said, she's a very independent woman. So I don't know why those issues are being brought up. I just wanted to kind of speak to that. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to close the public hearing, and I'll return it to the commissioners for discussion and ultimately a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for zoning case 2024-131ZC be forwarded to the City Council for denial.
I'd like an opportunity to make some comments, if that's
Yeah.
okay. Well, just to offer some thoughts, partly because we may be seeing more of these ADU applications. And my perspective on what's happened with the City Council is I think they've spoken pretty clearly, actually, that they're not interested in approving specific guidance at this time, which means, in my view, there's a presumption against granting ADUs. They're treated more like a variance. They're an exception to a rule. So there would have to be a compelling reason, in my view, for this, for it to be granted. I see a lot of red flags with this application. And I frankly try to disregard the personal aspect because frankly we hear that with most of these applications, and the permit will last beyond whatever the immediate need might be for, which is not guaranteed. We don't know if that's actually going to be the case. So, but the red flags being no permits issued, not sought, which is the owner's responsibility ultimately. It's currently a rental property. I frankly found it misleading the way it was presented as being for an additional family member, but not living on site on the property. Which I respect, but I would have appreciated more forthright explanation of what was going on. And then just the other red flags of the rental property, being used as short-term rental, having to get cited for that. I just have several problems with this, and so I just think for those reasons, and just generally that ADUs are, I would say, disfavored at this time. I would not be able to support it. And unless anyone, I think there are others who want to speak.
Let's make sure everybody's finished discussing.
I was just going to second Terry's motion.
All right, was there any further discussion anybody wanted? Okay, well, in that case, Terry, we have a motion for disapproval?
Yes.
And we have a second from Commissioner Merrick. All right, to recommend a denial of the application, please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. And so that'll go to council for them to decide. All right, on to item number 11. Zoning case 2024-149-ZC, located at 706 Ballywood Road. Is the applicant present? Is the applicant present? Is this one of the ones we're postponing? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Is the postponed indefinitely?
This is the indefinite one, yes.
Okay.
The next
All
one
right.
is the
Well,
date.
then, is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? No? Then I will return it to the commissioners for any discussion if necessary, and then presumably a motion to postpone indefinitely. Do we have a motion? Commissioner Merrick?
I'll make a motion for zoning case 2024-149-ZC be postponed indefinitely.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right, on to zoning case 2024-180-ZC, which is another one for postponement. Is the applicant present? Do you want to say anything?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Jesse Perez. I reside in 3832 Jackson Street. I'm speaking on behalf of my mother, Magdalena Perez. Just wanted to clarify and let you guys know that we're wanting to extend the salon 6 feet to have a little bit more storage and a break room for the employees. And the other issue that we have on there is building an iron fence around the front of the house, 6 feet, just for security measures. We've had a few people come into like the driveway, and so that's something that we were wanting to do.
Do you have any opposition to the postponement? Do you have any opposition to this being postponed?
Oh, no, is it for item 12, correct?
Be September 3rd? Okay, yeah, it wasn't consistent
So-
with the staff report. Had two different.
This is for item 12, correct?
So till,
Okay, just making sure. What's the postponement?
I believe there was a concern about the survey and whether the survey was accurate. I think the staff felt that it shouldn't be too difficult to fix, which is why they suggested a postponement of just until September 3rd.
Lo quieren cambiar para septiembre porque había como algo con el survey. So was there any like details on what the concern was with the survey?
El survey lo mandé, se lo traje.
Gina, could you wave your hand? If she'll be able to explain what it is that's needed in order to finalize that.
Okay.
And then it would be able to come before us and to really vote on it, on that issue.
Okay.
But we postpone it, it'll give you that month to get that worked out.
Okay.
And then we'll look at it, and we'll have another full hearing. You can have speaker, or anybody else can speak as well.
Understood. Thank you. ¿Tienes preguntas?
Sí, que porque yo quiero aplicar también. ¿Estás hablando del salón? Solamente
Is this regarding
el de salón.
the salon or is it regarding the fence?
I think it's all
It's all
it's the whole
together.
thing, yeah.
La cerca, dile que ellos me dijeron que quiero mover los 2 pies adentro y 3 enfrente. Yo no quiero mover eso.
She's asking about the fence that she's wanting to put around the house. She's stating that they want her to move the fence, have a setback 2 feet, and that she's opposed to that.
Y 3 en la 4 es 3.
And 3 feet on the 4th Street.
Que porque el handicap, pero dile que no me va a quedar
Okay.
nada allá.
Yeah, so if you'll speak with Gina and you sort of work through and be able to identify what it is you're wanting to request.
Okay.
Obviously, that doesn't have to be the same thing as what the staff is suggesting, and then we'll be able to hear the whole thing.
Understood. Thank you.
Make a decision.
Okay, we'll connect with her. Thank you, guys.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is there anybody else, anybody who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? No? Then I'll return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion to postpone until the September 3rd.
I'll make a motion on zoning case 2024-180-ZC to postpone the matter to September 3rd, 2024.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to postpone. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. Great, thank you. Okay, let's go on to item number 13. Zoning case 2024-210-ZC, located at 2513 Dunbar Street. Is the applicant present? All right, would you like to speak? Okay, all right. Seemed like earlier, maybe you were wanting to say something?
So our neighbor sent in a... I'm sorry, if you could come to the
Yeah,
podium,
come up
please.
here. Oh, you okay?
Our neighbor sent
Oh,
in...
name and address, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm John Ammons for the 2513 Dunbar Street.
Okay.
The neighbor that this would affect the most sent in his approval. His wife was in the hospital, so he just got it, so.
Okay, can you pass that to Ken here? Thanks. All right. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
I have one question. The carport, are you building it onto the house?
Yes, it will be
You're tying it
connected.
into your roof line?
Connected to the house. It'll be the same shingle and,
You're not going no higher than the roof line, correct?
no, no,
Okay, so it's all going to be the same height?
very much.
And you're not going no closer than 10 feet to the property line in the front, correct?
No, sir?
Okay, any other questions for the applicant? No? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody who would like to speak in opposition to it? No? Then I will return it to the commissioners for discussion and a motion.
I'd like to make a motion for 2024-210-ZC to be moved to City Council for approval.
Okay, we have a motion.
I second.
We have a second from Commissioner Merrick. Please vote. And the motion passes 5-2. All right. Then on to item, and so that'll go to the City Council now. Yeah. All right. Item number 14, zoning case 2024-237-ZC. Is the applicant, this is at 7480 North State Highway 161. Is the applicant present? And, yeah. And this is one with a companion case. The next one, we're going to have to vote on them separately, but development plan case 2024-266D VP. Do you want to speak on them at the same time?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Good evening. My name is Stephen McGurk. I am entitlements manager at 7-Eleven for new construction in North Texas. Here on behalf of 7-Eleven, just to add some additional context to our submittal. So as you guys might be aware, our corporate headquarters is here in Irving, and this location is within 2 miles of it. So just to explain a little bit just about the unique aspect of the site, because it's so close, this is a corporate store, completely corporate-owned corporate location. And they're going to include all of their latest features in their Gen 2 building, which is basically a complete new outside design, which has already been approved and is under construction, as well as each of their latest features, including the Laredo Taco Company concept, and then including electric vehicle charging. I believe there's 4 EV spaces, yes. And then the nature of this submittal just being the on-premise consumption of wine-based margaritas as part of a program that has been implemented in the past year by 7-Eleven, largely in Houston and South Texas. This would be the first location in North Texas that would have this aspect to it, and again, just on the very, very close eye of corporate being as close as it is. So we're talking even when board of directors come by, this is one of the stores this year for 2024 that will be a location that is visited by the board. So obviously it's just a very unique and a special site to 7-Eleven. So I just wanted to also just add that component there as well. And then I'll turn it over to Narciso. Good evening again. Narciso Lira, Odyssey Services Group, 9540 Garland Road, Dallas, Texas, 75281. I just kind of wanted to echo on what Stephen was talking about and then touch on a couple items that came up on the work session. First, like he said, it's a wine-based margarita program, so we'll be going through all the applicable TABC requirements for on-premise consumption. In addition to that, the store has already begun going through the TABC requirements for off-premise consumption like a normal C-store. And I say that because the two, from a permitting and licensing standpoint, won't really mix. You can't pull a beer from the reach-in fridge, pop it open, sit inside, and drink it. So the program is just for, the on-premise consumption is just for the wine-based margarita. For on-premise consumption, the programs could be limited to 2 drinks per customers, no more than that. So it's not going to function like you would see at a normal Mexican food restaurant or something else. From a Laredo Taco perspective, the LTC, there's seating inside the store for the Laredo Taco, but there's also seating inside the store for your traditional food offering, like the fried foods, just the typical convenience store food offering. So you'll have a mixture of customers that would be sitting in there and eating, whether it's from a Laredo Taco or just a regular. And I say that because from the Laredo Taco standpoint, it's behind a serving line. Just kind of think Chipotle. You go through the steam table, you pick what you want, you pay, you get your food, you go and sit. So in that same lineup, you'll have the margarita machine. So it is served and dispensed by store staff only per your order. So if you're going to do on-premise consumption, they'll put a top on it, give you a straw, walk away. If it's for off-premise consumption, it'll be just like you would see at a restaurant where they put a lid on it, tape it, put it in a bag, or whatever needs to happen for them to be able to take that home. The other thing, I think we had a question that came up from the 300-foot distance requirement. It says 300 feet door to door. From the map standpoint, I did pull it up between the two meetings, and the 300 feet extend to just outside the back fence lines of those residential properties to the east of us. So from that standpoint, we're clearing those distances as well. Let's see. Yep, I think that covered all the notes I had from the meeting earlier, so.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant?
Thanks for answering my questions.
No, no problem.
I just have a comment for you, as much as I hate to say this, but I wish all these services were available 60 years ago when I started working for 7-Eleven.
Right.
And we still had to open the doors and push the drinks out, so.
Well, and
it's a
that's
great
why,
service.
yeah, catching up now.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? All right, thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
All right, is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody who would like to speak in opposition? Then I'll return it to the commissioners for discussion and a motion.
If no further comments, I'll make a motion for zoning case 2024-237-ZC be forwarded to City Council with approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. So that was item 14, and then we have item 15, the companion case. We already heard your comments on it. But for the public hearing portion, is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? No, there not being anyone, then I will return it to the commission. This is Development Plan 2024-266-DVP at the same location. We have a motion, or is there any discussion on this?
I'll make a motion to forward case number 20.
This one I think we vote on as final, correct? So it's
Yes.
a final decision on it, so we aren't forwarding it
Okay.
on to the city council.
So make a development plan case 2024-266 DVP for approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. Obviously, that's contingent on the city council approving the first of those items. But if so, then this one's done. All right, thank you. All right, item number 16, 2024-238-ZC, zoning case at 2120 Regency Drive. Is the applicant present? We discussed in the work session. Would you like to make any further comment or presentation? Okay. All right. Well, if we have questions, well, you need to come up here, but I don't know whether there's questions yet. So do the commissioners have any questions for the applicant? It doesn't look like it, in which case you're off the hook. All right. Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Oh, sorry. Oh, it looks like we do.
Sir, I did actually have a question. Oh, well, I don't know if you need to.
Oh, could you state your name and address?
Yes, my name is Amir Nakshina, 2120 Regency Drive.
Thank you.
So, sir, I just had a question. One of the recommendations for approving this application was that it would be subject to making the screen 7 feet tall instead of 6 feet. And I didn't know if that was something that would work for you. Or
It
if you
doesn't matter, whatever is need, we can do it.
Okay. That was my main question.
Yes, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Are you going to be a licensed automobile dealer, used or new? Do you have your state license?
Yes, we should have the license by DMV. And we went to that procedure, but because the zoning gave us the online auto sale, the Texas DMV didn't give us this permission and certificate. Yes, that's why we request for auto sale, not just online auto sale.
So you won't be a licensed, you cannot obtain your Texas.
Yeah, that's why we request.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? All right. Thank you
Thank
very
you, I
much.
appreciate it. Thank you.
And is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? No? Then I'll return it to the commission. Any discussion? No?
Do we still need, sorry.
We need a motion if you.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. To recommend approval for zoning case 2024-238-ZC.
I'll second.
Oh, and that motion is also for approval is subject to a minimum screening fence of a height of 7 feet as per the staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And the motion passes 6-1. All right, on to item number 17. Special fence plan, case 2024-240-SFP at 128 East St. Clair Drive. Is the applicant present?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Jeremy Emmert, and this is my wife Melissa. We live at 128 East St. Clair, and we're here because we would like to have a fence built around our property. And the specific reason for this is in our backyard, it faces MacArthur, and we'd like to have an 8-foot board-on-board fence. And I think that it had to be 30 feet in from our existing property line, but we were hoping that we could maybe somehow compromise and maybe have it moved. We were asking for 10 feet in from the property line. And then we would like a gate as well, and we understand our gate would have to be 30 feet in, and we're happy to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions from the commissioners?
Are you going to widen the driveway that's there now, the current approach, or what do you?
The driveway in from MacArthur, we do not intend to widen it, no.
Okay.
Would you like for us to? Or no, you don't want us to. We will shorten it if you like.
I think could I speak for you? I think he's wondering how a sliding gate works when the driveway is only so wide. Am I interpreting your question? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So along MacArthur where our fence is, we will have it cut in to meet that 30-foot requirement, and then the gate would just slide side to side. Yes, sideways. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, into the,
Yeah,
into
that's
the
fine.
yard.
Yes, still in our own property. When the gate is open, that gate will still be
So
on
that
our
way you'll be able to
property.
pull off MacArthur safely or pull out safely?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Is there anybody who'd like to, y'all can just wait. Anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition to this item?
This is the first time I've ever been to a meeting like this, and I've learned a lot. I appreciate everybody. The Emmett family lives right across the street from me.
Oh, sorry. Could you, one, move the microphone down a little bit?
Over here?
You can just push it down a little
I'm
bit. The
sorry.
microphone will come down.
The Emmett family lives right across the
Oh,
street
no.
from me.
You can pull the microphone down just a little.
Like that. And your name and address, please.
I'm Brenda Vasquez. I live right across the street from the Emmett family. I've known them for years. Now they have a son. I knew them before the child was born. They're very nice people, and it's very difficult to get out of MacArthur now because they have to make a turnaround to come around and go. And it's very difficult. And as we know, the city is growing, and MacArthur is a very busy street. I can remember when it was 2 lanes. I would wish that y'all would give them permission to have this, because it would be a safe gate. Nobody else can come crashing through. It's on private it would be on private property, and the wood fence would be a sound buffer from MacArthur, the traffic. It would be a privacy fence, and it would help them so much in getting to and from work. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? No? Then I will return it to the commissioners for discussion and a motion.
If there's no further discussion, I'd like to, Special Fence Plan 2024-240 SFP be forwarded to City Council for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right, then on to item 18, conditional use permit. Y'all have a good evening. 2024-242-CUP at 315 Jefferson Street. Is the applicant present? Yes. All right. Would you like to say something further about it, sir?
No, I have the pictures if y'all are interested to see what he does.
Okay, sure. And you could say your name and address again.
Joe Goldsmith, 315 Jefferson.
Great, thank you.
So here's his current location.
Oh, can you speak into the microphone?
Here's his current, where he's at right now, off of Irving Boulevard. So you see he's pretty clean. And there's his, so what he does is he takes these old trucks and they put an LS motor in it, so it's an updated motor, fuel injected. So we advertised it, I don't know, probably 2-3 months, and we turned away other body shops for the fact that the body shops in the riddle of the yard. But Sonny knows Joel, the tenant who's supposed to move here, and he's clean. And so that's it. Yeah. So if you have any questions for me.
All right, thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions for the applicant? Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
Oh, no, never mind.
I know one of the recommendations was that the conditional use permit would have a limit of 5 years. So I just wanted to confirm that that was within expectations of, what you're
I
saying.
really thought it was going to be 3 years, but, so 5 is, but, yeah, we'll just see what the area, I mean, if the area changes, then obviously that use is, not good anymore, but it is what it is, so,
Thanks, sir.
yeah.
And also removing the parking spaces.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out, yeah.
Well, if no further questions or
Well-
comments? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Public hearing.
We haven't done the public hearing yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, no other questions for the applicant? All right, great. Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? No? Now I can return it to the commission.
I almost got away with it tonight instead of jumping. I'd like to forward to City Council the conditional use permit case for 2024-242-CUP with the recommendation that we remove all parking spaces from the right-of-way and establish a time limit of 5 years for the CUP.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second for approval with certain conditions. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. Okay, and that's the last of those items. And now on to item 19, the Master Thoroughfare Plan Amendment 2024-289-CP. We already had the presentation, so.
Yeah, just put it on for public hearing.
Okay, so is there anybody like to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? Does not appear to be. All right, I'll return it to the commission for any discussion on this and a motion.
Unless anyone has discussion, I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the thoroughfare plan to add the cul-de-sac design sections. This is listed as 2024-289-CP.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Please vote. And the motion passed unanimously. And then our last item, item number 20, Ordinance Amendment 2024-290-UDC, cul-de-sac amendments to the UDC. Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? Not being anyone, I'll return it to the commission. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion if there's no further discussion for 2024-29 UDC to be moved to City Council for approval.
I second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. And that is our last item, and the meeting is adjourned at 8:43 p.m.
Just one reminder that the next meeting is September 3rd, which is a Tuesday, because it's after Labor Day. So